Wow, we're about to start this. Okay, test. We're gonna have the whole Discord thing going on like this. Bam, bam, bam. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jark Rashawn McCarter Jr., and welcome to a project that I've been working on quite a while. Hey, how you doing? First off, hey, how you doing? My name is. What's good, everyone? My name is Jark Rashawn McCarter Jr., and you're welcome. I haven't got Canva open, bro. First off, before the presentation gets started, my name is Jark Rashawn McCarter Jr., and welcome into. Hello. Before we get started, I want to introduce myself. My name is Jark Rashawn McCarter Jr. Thank you for having me, and let's get straight into it. So, this is the autonomous drum key. So let me go ahead and set the stage for you. So, imagine you finally taken the time to treat yourself. Congratulations. You're at a Super Bowl, you cleared your calendar, flown across the country, and paid thousands for this experience. The halftime show begins, and as the lights hit the field, the beat drops, something's off. The sound is muddy. All the musicians look unconfident. In the mid-song, you see that they're switching to a pre-recorded track. Now, because they're professional, they can play it off, but eventually you start to see how it's all inauthentic, and eventually it's corrected at the end of the day. But regardless, this is not what you pay for. Behind the scenes, what exactly happened is just a little bit of thermodynamics. The weather made the drum heads of the set warp and get completely out of tune. The musician and staff did their best to try to retune it right before it started, but usually it takes about 5 to 10 minutes at the very least on these drums. So unfortunately, the show gotta keep going. A sudden 10-degree drop or spike in humidity can warp on a drum head's tension in minutes, turning a professional instrument into a toy. Right now, fixing that requires a lot of human experience, mainly adjust 6 to 10 lugs on each of the drum. And again, that task takes 5 to 10 just for even a pro. This problem is bigger than what you realize. It impacts the show, it messes up fans' perspective, and most importantly, it doesn't sonically please the person of the craft. This is a multi-dollar problem until now. I'm introducing a yield sensing autonomous musical actuator model analyzer, also known as your mama, because your mama is always right. All right, so we're selling a tool that allows a perfect pitch to be set on an instrument. It is an autonomous drum key tuner designed to precision and speed. This is primarily for musicians, specifically percussionists, those aspiring to become one, or those who work with one. That's the target audience. Tuning a single drum actually takes a moderate user between 5 to 10 minutes. An entire drum line consists of over 60 drum heads on average. Consequently, the tuning process takes too much time and its accuracy is overly dependent on the human ear. This tool significantly reduces tuning time while providing a more precious sound to better accompany the full ensemble. While other devices may improve the convenience of tuning a drum head, this is the first product on the market to automate the entire process from start to finish. The closest comparison to a tool like this of the other Yamahas are devices that simply aid the tuning process. Those products are typically priced between $7 and $100. However, they only deal with half of the problem. So usually you're ready to have a drum like the middle piece right there. You're able to put it onto the drum, yet it doesn't do anything. It just gives you a guide, a guide to be able to identify what exactly is going on. But at the end of the day, you still have to do the physical work, and it takes up time. It kills the whole performance, and again, it can easily go wrong just from natural weathering, and when you have to retune, it takes an entire process. But until now. So the ideal market for this is, well, first off, this is an opportunity for just any mechanical advancement. There currently only tuners provide data. They don't do any physical labor. So there's a whole market needed for said instrument. The target market can be curated mostly at music festivals, school bands, and concerts, just big football games, and just overall jam sessions. And that's where we're going to find our main market outside of just our national e-commerce. That's where we'll set base. The total addressable market is over 25,000 high school and college marching bands globally, plus the growing Drum Corps International, DCI, and WGI circuits. The global percussion market is valued at approximately $1.52 billion in 2026 with a compound annual growth rate of 1.3% to 3%. That percentage is based on really just the instrumentation itself. But each said instrument, each wealth within that market, they all need their instruments tuned. So therefore, $1 billion worth of product is out there that all has to get tuned, and that is the worst part of playing. And now we've created that. Band directors, man, what's the time limit, bro? I feel like I gotta do a time limit because I don't like the way this is looking. I don't like the way this is. All right, let's make this quick and short. I don't want to take too much of your time. My name is Yark Rashawn McCarter. Let's get straight to it. All right, so I'm going to be discussing an autonomous drum key, an automatic drum tuner. So let me try to set the stage real quick. Imagine you're at a Super Bowl, the Super Bowl. You finally treated yourself. Congratulations. All that hard work is paying off. You're doing the best you can. Now it's time to just enjoy the experience. You cleared out space in your calendar. You've flown. You paid a ticket. All these things is happening just for you to have a little moment of leisure. You might as well have it the best you can. Your team is up. You're finally ready to sit down and watch the halftime performance. And all of a sudden, the lights shut off. The beat drops and something sounds a little bit off. Everybody's looking a little confused up there. The sound is a little muddy. And all of a sudden, you see the instrument switch to a drum track when they're clearly playing. Now they're faking playing. It seems authentic, completely inauthentic. And at the end of the day, they're professionals, so they play it off and they finally get back to it. But that's just not what you pay for. You wanted a vacation. You wanted a good time. You could watch a YouTube video, but no, you want to see it live, and you just got robbed of that experience. What happened behind the scenes is the weather made the drum heads of the set completely get warped and get completely out of tune. The musicians and staff most likely do their best to try to retune, but that usually takes about 5 to 10 minutes at least on each drum. So unfortunately, the show had to go on, and that was the best thing they could do. Honestly, just a sudden 10-degree drop or a spike in humidity can warp a drum's head tension in minutes, turning a professional instrument into a toy. Right now, fixing that requires a human expert to manually adjust 6 to 10 lugs, and that's usually all made by ear. But again, who has time for that? This is just on this stage. This happens on a smaller level for like a beginner band program. This happens at the local church. This happens at the gigs outside. This is a consistent problem, a consistent issue. Yet, there has never been a way to fix that. It is a multi-million-dollar problem, depending on where you're playing. And there hasn't been a proper solution until now. I'm introducing a yield-sensing autonomous musical actuator model analyzer, also known as your mama, because your mama's always right, all right? So, how this works. First off, we're selling a tool that allows a perfect pitch to be set on an instrument. It is an autonomous drum key tuner designed for precision and speed. Our target audience, ideally, is primarily for musicians, specifically percussionists, those aspiring to become one, or those who work with them, closely related. Tuning a single drum, again, usually takes a moderate user between 5 to 10 minutes. An entire drum line consists of over 60 drum heads. On average, consistently, the tuning process takes too much time and accuracy is over-dependent on the human ear. Therefore, you can do your best, but it still might not be perfect. This tool significantly reduces tuning time while providing a more precise sound to better accompany the full ensemble. While other devices have improved the convenience of tuning a drum head, this is the first product on the market that automate the entire process from start to finish. The closest comparison to a tool like the Yamaha are devices that simply aid the tuning process, and these products are typically priced between $70 to $100. However, they only solve half of the problem. Therefore, a lot of people don't even use them because, again, naturally you want to get to the point where you're kind of good at it on your own. However, that device is high-key very inaccurate. I just see in the middle as a real-life review of somebody complaining saying that your TuneBot is lying to you because it says one note, and that's not your note. To the left of that screen is a traditional drum key, and that's how you have to use for each lug nut. And then to the right is a prototype idea of how that arm would work to fix that issue. The market. So first off, there's a total lack of activity for a mechanical solution. There is no one in this space that's actually dived into this problem. Current tuners only provide data. They do not provide the physical laboring of tuning. So therefore, it only gives you a reference guide of how to make it better, but it doesn't straight up automate this system. There's so many other things that are automated for precision these days, yet we're still doing the old-fashioned way, literally twisting your arm just to get the right note, and it's usually not correct. The target market of where we see this being used is curated mostly at music festivals, school band concerts, and football games, and then just normal jam sessions, out like your local area. This is where we would primarily be found outside of our natural e-commerce, which will be provided most likely via Shopify. The total addressable market is ideally over 25 high school and college marching bands globally, plus the growing drum corps and international DCI and WGI circuits. The global percussion market is valued at approximately $1.52 billion in 2026 with a compound annual growth rate of 1.3 to 3%. And again, this is just the overall percussion market. However, the percussion market consists of drums, and those drums need to be tuned, and the tuning process is ridiculous. Therefore, what we're doing here finally provides an outlet of a necessity to get that handle. Every drum needs to get tuned. Every car needs wheels, and that's what we've done. Instead of you doing it yourself with the wrench, we provided an automated service. In the service will market band directors and percussion instructors who manage large inventories, equipment, and large uniformity of sound across drumlines. So we got managers, we got percussion instructors, people in local gigs. Those are ideally going to be the ones that take full advantage of this. The production costs. Ideally, we are still in the research and development phase, but again, there's 6 motors. The stepper line, a NEMA 11 bipolar, provides the high torque precision needed for Kevlar heads. 6 gear boxes is around $6.50 for each for multiple torques. And those are used for the motors don't stall under high tension. The sensing array is $12. Again, 6 sensors. Because again, there are 6 lugs, 6 lugs around the drum that we have to assist. The power system is about $10 for a battery. Provides enough current to drive multiple motors simultaneously through the full process. Structural frame is around $45. A custom module rail system using a 3D printed carbon fiber reinforced nylon and aluminum extrusions. That's for it to provide the most ideal sturdiness. Someone that want to make it as durable as possible, and that's the best way with the resources we have. Of course, after a couple items, it no longer will be a 3D printed process. Everything will be under a mold, and then we can get that completely cascaded for better development. And then we have the music hardware, which is $28. Internal wiring, motor drive, steel drum, key sockets, and assembly fasteners. Ideally, with everything combined, it's going to be roughly a cost of goods sold is $225. That's just to assemble. But how we're going to target this price is $749 for just a single device, and the profit will be 70% within that profit margin. And then a kit is provided at $3,200, and we would have a profit about $2,000 with a 65% margin. With that being said, this is a real issue. When found effectively, this is a hot commodity. And those kits are primarily used for those band directors, for those people of large ensembles that just need to get a lot done all quickly and at a quick and fast rate. Again, so our competitors, the 100+ man hours saved per season per give makes the Yamaha an investment that pays for itself in less than a year. The competition displays data where we create a full entire service. Again, the TuneBot Studio, which you saw earlier, the TuneBot Studio is $99.95. And then the Drum Dial Precision Drum Tuner is about $64.99. They are okay, they are ideal, but yet you are still doing the work. Both are aiding a system, and honestly, they both have a good direction. But what we're doing is we're combining both of those logistics together to create the ultimate service. Therefore, you can work on making the best music rather than worrying about the hardware of your instrument. So how we're going to market this is we're going to pull up to pop-ups at major 2026 industry crowds. So we have the PASIC, the Percussion Arts Society International Convention, huge convention for percussionists for the Midwest Clinic. We have the DCR Worldwide Championships and the HBCU Battle of the Bands, all Battle of the Bands. We want all the smoke to pull up. We will provide a service, be able to tune the instrument live in real time, and then have a real professional to play, experience the greatness of what we're doing. Create a beta line. Again, the ideal goal is to donate the Yamaha to specific drum lines for a couple years rental. So maybe like about a 2-year thing. They're able to use this, free promo. It's a win-win. Also, I wanted to create a weekly docu-series called Making the Band, a little spoof on that. And we're going to visit different summer band camps and allow them to use the device. We'll be there for a couple of days. It's an opportunity for them to get highlighted as a school. But then in addition to that, we get to see them slowly appreciate it in live time and see how effectively, how much work can get changed or saved within those 3 days. Then, of course, we have the local word of mouth. In the early stages, I plan to have a different local musicians test the device. This involves traveling with the prototype to local concerts, Tiny Desk NPR performances, and sessions with local percussionists. To the right, you have a Tiny Desk NPR, which is basically a jam session within a library in the DC area, and that is 100% known worldwide. So that opportunity has full-blown artists. It's actually an honor to be able to pull up to said events, and they have to tune very quickly because again, they just got off the plane. They're trying to get their performance in and out. Everybody else, they plug the piano in, they keep it going. The drum, it went from Utah maybe to from Jackson, Mississippi, all the way back to DC. You don't know what the travel expense has been. You have to tune based on the weather, based on the temperature, based on the air conditioning. You don't have a lot of time. Now you do. So, what the $10,000 can do? First off, again, we are the research and development phase. So the R&D prototyping, roughly $4,500 sourcing high torque NEMA motors, custom planetary gear sets, and high resolution 24-bit ADCs for the first 5 alpha units. As again, ideally, we're finally going to take it from our process within a computer to try to get this thing practical into real life. And if I can donate that, that would be great. Software development, $2,500 refining the fast Fourier transform algorithm to filter out stadium noise and perfection the PID control loops for simultaneously tuning. The whole idea with that is creating a similar system, similar to like how you were to put your AirPods in. You're able to have noise canceling, therefore it reduces the outside noise. Having something to remove the other frequencies needed or that are unneeded and just pay attention to the big one. Testing and validation, that's about $1,500 with the traveling to different marketplaces, like you said, different battle of the bands, different things like that. And legal and IP. Initial filing for a provisional patent on the modular radio tuning frame and autonomous multi-lug synchronization line. Because again, to be able to do this, I can see it get marketed in other places. I can see it being told. So this is kind of the biggest goal on the list, is to make sure that that design is patented. And scalability. First, the short term is to finalize the mechatronic integration in 3D printed cases. Second is beta testing with HBCUs and drumlines. So basically getting it from idea phase to actually in front of people for drumlines and actually working on the device to keep using it in loud spaces. Using it from one thing in practice. It's easy to tune a drum from a practice room. It's a little bit harder to tune a drum outside in the stadium somewhere around cars and everything. So being able to get live feedback. And then the long term, it's to transition from a handheld tool to a licensed smart lug technology for major drum manufacturers like Yamaha, its predecessor. So that's a real brand. That's a real known pocket of wealth within the percussion industry. So to be able to get something partner with them, it's the ultimate goal. So again, y'all, thank you so much. Again, this is your mama, because your mama's always right. Tune in to the yield sensing autonomous musical actuator, a model analyzer. You'll never be wrong again.